Welcome again to the Old Principal English Instructional Program. 我就是老校长，我会教一点英文and you'll even hear a little of my personal philosophy. Not all the stories do I get philosophical, but sometimes I will. Now, this will be lesson number 213. Number 213, one dog tells another. By the way, that is not a dog. This is the dog. Okay? So, with that, let's listen to the story as Connie reads it, and then we'll be back.
Story 213. One dog tells another dog. Since winter was coming fast to our area in Canada, I decided to, quotes, winterize our home so that my family would stay warmer. As I was working outside on this project, I soon noticed a stray dog come around my home and stay there just watching me. After a while, he boldly came over to rub against my leg. Strange, I thought. But when I looked down, I suddenly discovered his face was filled with porcupine quills. I immediately got a pair of pliers and began pulling the quills out. The dog was amazingly patient, even though I knew that he was feeling pain. Porcupine quills can easily enter the skin of any possible enemy. However, they are very hard to pull out. Occasionally, some blood appeared when the quills were removed. There were quills inside his mouth, around his nose, and even on his neck. In all, I removed more than 50 quills. When the job was completed, my wife brought some water and wiped the dog's face and gave him a drink. He wagged his tail in thanks and relief, then ran off. Trying to get the job finished the next day, I noticed the same dog come around the corner of our home again. This time he didn't come to me, but kept appearing and then disappearing, as though playing some game. Then the reason for the unusual behavior became apparent as a second dog followed the first one around the corner. The first dog led the second over to where I was working, and as I looked down, I noticed that the second dog also had his face full of porcupine quills. So once again I fetched my pliers and removed all the quills from his face and head. Once again we brought water, cleaned the second dog up, and gave him a drink. Again the dogs wagged their tails in thanks and went off to live a dog's life, free from quills.
Welcome back. Now we're going to look at the story. It begins this way. Since winter was coming fast to our area in Canada, so this story comes from Canada, okay? From Canada. I decided to winterize our home so that my family would stay warmer. Now, there's several things here. First, winter was coming, okay? 很快就来到我们的地区, okay? 冬天了. And I decided to winterize. Okay, we know what winter is. Winter is 冬天, but we've taken the word winter and we've made it into something else. I decided to winterize. That's the infinitive, to winterize. What does it mean to winterize? Winterize means to prepare something for winter. So in this case, we'll look at it, to winterize our home. So normally the home maybe leaks air or gets cold easily. 不过这个无所谓. It's not a big problem because it's not winter. But during winter, you have to do something to make it more prepared for winter. Often you put 2 layers of windows. 这个窗户要2层的, okay? 2 levels of windows. So that means that during the winter you can't open the windows, okay? And the reason you do this is because it helps the house stay warmer. Going on. As I was working outside on this project, okay, I was working outside, so he is outside working on the project, okay. So this project means that 这项工作, or sometimes we say project is 计划, but in this case, I think it's 这项工作. As I was working on this, I soon noticed a stray dog, 流浪狗, okay? Stray dog, 流浪狗. That means that this dog apparently doesn't belong to anyone. And he came around my home and stay there just watching me. He was there. He came around my home and he was just stayed there and he was watching me. Okay, now, the dog was watching. It's not very strange that you would expect something like that. But check out the next slide going on. After a while, he boldly came over to rub against my leg. Strange, I thought. After a while, 过一段时间, what happened? He boldly, that means 很勇敢的, what? 勇敢的 came over and started rubbing against my leg. Have you ever had a cat? Cats do this more than dogs. Okay. Have you ever had a cat and the cat comes over to your leg and just takes his whole body and just kind of rubs against your body? 摸一摸你的腿, okay? And so the man said, this is very strange, I thought, going on. But when I looked down, I suddenly discovered that his face was filled with porcupine quills. Now there's several different things that we need. Okay, I looked down and suddenly discovered that his face, 满脸的, 他的脸, 满脸的 porcupine quills. A porcupine is a little animal who doesn't have 它的毛是刺, almost like needles, 针啊, okay? Porcupine, 豪猪, okay? And then quills, 刺, okay? So these porcupine quills were on his face. It was, the dog was in discomfort. When the porcupine quill goes in, it doesn't come out. So apparently the dog was chasing a porcupine. And the porcupine, he just moved his quills up, and the dog tried to bite him, 咬他, and guess what? All these porcupine quills got on his face. Going on. Immediately I got a pair of pliers. So today I brought a pair of pliers. My friends, here is a pair of pliers. You have to have these pliers to pull them out, the porcupine quills. Okay, you have to pull them out. Now, let's take a look here. It says, immediately I got a pair of pliers and began to pull the quills out, 这个签子, okay? The dog was amazingly patient, 很奇妙的这个耐心, because this is 很痛苦, very, very painful, and he's pulling them out one by one, 一个一个拔出来. Even though I knew that he was feeling pain, 我知道他可以感到痛. I mean, he's feeling pain, and yet the man is pulling one by one of these out. Porcupine quills can easily enter the skin of any possible enemy. So, if there is an enemy, 有敌, you say 敌人, okay, an enemy, somebody who wants to hurt them. So the porcupine quill, 这个刺, 这个针, okay, can easily 透入这个皮肤, enter the skin, but they are very hard to pull out. 好不容易拔出来. And in fact, if they don't, then after a while they begin to 发炎, and it's very, very painful and a very bad situation. Okay, going on. The porcupine quills can easily enter the skin of any possible enemy. However, they are very hard to pull out. Going on. Occasionally, some blood appeared. 也有一些血就露出来 when the quills were removed. So we're talking about a very painful process. There were quills inside his mouth. Inside, 在他的口腔里面也有. So he's, I mean, this has got to be a patient dog. And around his nose and even on his neck. Okay, his nose, his 脖子, okay, his neck, they all had quills that needed to be pulled out. Okay, in all, I removed more than 50 quills. Okay, 50个刺我就拔出来. And each one very painful, very painful. Going on. When the job was completed, my wife brought some water and wiped the dog's face and gave him a drink. So you got a very 当这项工作做完了，这个任务做完了，任务做完了 completed 完成了 my wife brought some water and washed 擦他的脸 and gave him a drink of water 让他就喝水. Okay, now this is a very lucky dog and a very I would say a very smart dog. because somehow the dog knew that the man could help him and would help him. That's very good. Okay, going on. He wagged his tail. Okay, 他的尾巴摇来摇去. Dogs wag their tail in thanks. So wagging the tail is the dog's way of saying thank you, thank you. And not only was he wagging his tail and saying thank you, thank you, thank you, he wagged it in relief. 他松掉. He is feeling comfortable again. Of course, yeah, maybe there's still a little bit pain, but he knows that he will get better because they have all been pulled out. Going on. Trying to get the job finished the next day. So 呢，现在是第二天. Okay, the next day. And he's trying to finish it up because winter is coming and we want to winterize the house and make it so 可以应付这个冬天的冷气等等啊，风啊。I noticed the same dog come around the corner of our house. 这个 corner of the house, 那个角的角落, okay? And he came around, this is on the outside, of course. He came around the corner of our home again, and it was the same dog. Did he come to say thank you? Did he come to say thank you? Well, maybe. But let's go on. He didn't come to me, but kept appearing and disappearing as though playing some sort of game. Okay, this time the dog didn't come to me. He appeared, 他就出现, and then he 离开, he appeared and disappeared, appeared and disappeared. I could see him and then I didn't see him. I saw him and then I didn't see him. Okay, so it almost was like a game. So is the dog playing some kind of game? 玩一种游戏吗? What's happening? Then the reason for this unusual, 不平常的behavior 行为, okay? 不平常的行为. The reason for 原因 for this unusual behavior became apparent. 就很清楚, 很明显, 很明显, as a second dog. Now we're talking about a second dog. He followed the first one around the corner. Finally, the second dog has enough courage, and the second dog comes around the corner. I can hear the dog saying, okay, hey, take a look. There's a human being. He was awfully nice to me. Maybe he will be nice to you. Okay, going on. The first dog led the second dog over to where I was working. So the first dog, the one that had come the day before, led the second dog over to where I was working. So, what is he thinking about? So I was working on the house, winterizing the house. The first dog leads, 就带领 the second one over to where I was working, going on. And I looked down and I noticed the second dog also had his face full of porcupine quills. 看到第二只狗 and what? He has a face full of porcupine quills. Remember what a porcupine is? 它那个满脸有这个豪猪的刺。Okay, so he's got all these porcupine quills, just like the other one. Just like the other one. Going on. So once again, I fetched. Okay, once again, I fetched my pliers. So let's fetch my pliers. I have fetched. To fetch means to go get. So the man went and got his pliers. He fetched the pliers. So obviously, the pliers were not right there handy. So he fetched the pliers and begins to work. I fetched my pliers and removed all the quills from his face and head. I removed his quills from his face. Okay, remember, he has all these 刺 on his face. And so I'm taking the pliers and I'm pulling them off one by one. And off of his head too. Okay. Now remember, the dog the day before, what? He even had the quills inside of his mouth. So I'm very painful. Okay. Once again, we brought water. We cleaned the second dog up and gave him a drink. Again, we cleaned the second dog up, 擦他的脸 and 又是给他喝水. Go ahead. Again, the dogs wag their tails. Okay? What is 把尾巴这个摇来摇去? In thanks. That is a dog's way, 狗的方法 to say thank you, thank you. 我非常感激. And then they went off to live a dog's life free from quills. Okay, they went off to live a dog's life. Okay, now, sometimes we use the term to live a dog's life in a negative, 负面上, a dog's life, like it's not a very good life. But in this case, it's not 负面. It just simply to go live, 过一个这个狗的生活或人生啊. But it is free from quills. Free, 没有刺而过这个他们狗的生活. Okay, free from means no more of them. No more. They have been taken out. So, do you like our story? Have you ever seen a porcupine? Well, I have seen a porcupine only once. And I was out bird watching. 我是在外面看鸟. And I was walking along. It was springtime. 是春季的时候. And so I was walking along and I saw something and it looked strange. It was a little round thing. 是圆圆的，好像球一样。So I actually walked over to it. And when I got close to it, it moved. It was alive, 是活的了。It was 豪猪。But I was smart enough to know that you shouldn't touch or play or get close to the porcupine. So my wife was with me. We were watching birds, but we said, that's fine. We'll let Mr. Porcupine do his thing. You can go. I'm not going to touch you. Now, back to our story. Of course, I hope that the dogs learned a lesson. Don't, as we say in English, don't mess with a porcupine. Don't try to hurt a porcupine, because the porcupine or the porcupine quills can hurt you. So, assuming that the dogs were smart, I mean, these are very smart dogs. These dogs have come and they're there to have the man pull it out with his pliers. They're smart enough to know, don't, in the future, don't play with a porcupine. Okay, with that, let's move on here to our email address. We do have an email address. It's at theoldprinciple@gmail.com. We do also have a website. You can see some of our programs on the website. Every 6 days now I put a new program up there. www.theoldprinciple.org. Hey, it's been great to spend this time with you, and I hope that you will join us next time with a friend. Until then, see you later.